Welcome back to the Eastlake Pet Talk podcast. We had a great last episode, a lot of fun, a lot of great feedback, and so many people with super ideas brought forward. A lot of people asked for us to do, kind of a segment per show, just like one topic per show. So we're looking at changing things up and maybe doing some shorter snippets and doing a lot of things differently.
Yeah, people said they did like a shorter time period and maybe one topic an episode and kind of switching back and forth. And so today the topic is pigs. Pigs as pets.
Right. And this is Piggy Azalea.
That's right.
And she happened to come into our orphanage here fairly recently. And Dr. McCauley here has actually been her foster dad, and he takes care of her during the day there at Eastlake, but then also camps with her overnight and has had a lot of fun personal time. And of course, the question on the street right now is whether Dr. McCauley is going to be a foster failure. That's what we affectionately call it when we take care of pets that are part of the orphanage and then wind up adopting them ourselves. So
still up in the air. I do like her a whole lot. She did actually pretty well in my apartment last night, so that's one thing.
In a high-rise apartment.
A high-rise apartment,
pig.
yeah. Pigs
How about
can,
that?
But that's brings up a good point. Pigs can actually make very good pets, even in smaller areas, especially the smaller ones. Now, if you get a 130-pound pig, it's not going to do too well in a 1-1.
Right.
And so a smaller pig like Piggy Azalea here, if she stays this size, actually make very good pets. They can be litter trained or house trained. They're omnivores, and so they eat a wide variety of food, although we always recommend
they're not finicky.
Nope, they're not finicky. Just put them on a commercial pig diet. She had a breakfast of fruit and yogurt this morning, just like I did. And so
in tiny little quantities.
Tiny little bits, exactly.
I'm always amazed at how little they eat. It just boggles my mind that they can support their whole body weight on such tiny portions.
They can, compared to their size. But actually, pigs are very smart, too, sometimes too smart. She is already learning to open up the cabinet and almost open the dog food bin to get into
that can
things.
happen. They can self-feed. One pig that I took care of got into the dog food bin, just like you say, ate like an entire week's worth of dog food for a full-size dog, and wound up getting an upset tummy, went out in the yard, ate a bunch of sticks and all kinds of things. And so we had to do emergency surgery to empty out that impacted stomach. But so you got to watch them.
You got to watch them just like you do dogs. And also like dogs and cats, you have to get them vaccinated and regular veterinary care. So pigs don't get the same diseases that dogs and cats do, but we still want to vaccinate them for what we call the big four: rabies, pseudo-rabies, blanking now.
Easy for me to say. Erysipelathrix
and tetanus,
parvo,
as well as
and
parvo.
And lepto too.
Yep, exactly. The big ones.
But usually with pigs, you're looking at an annual to semi-annual vaccine, and even if they're not around other pigs, they can certainly carry some of these diseases, and they can be kind of dormant in their system, and unless you do the vaccine, then some of these things can wind up surfacing. But for the most part, their care is pretty easy, easy to feed, like you say. They're not finicky. And contrary to what a lot of people think, I think a lot of people think that pigs stink, and they really don't.
She doesn't have a smell at all, actually. She's very clean, gets along with my dog and my cat, so they're very personable, loves to be around people, doesn't want to be alone, and so pigs make great pets.
Yeah, she really is a sweetheart. And I think, though, one of the things that people really need to remember, like you mentioned, that they are smart. Supposedly pigs are rated as the 4th most intelligent animal out there, domesticated animals. So that's pretty cool.
I can believe that.
Yeah, I can too. And I think as the pigs became more popular around the 80s to the 90s, as they were introduced into the country, that is the pot-bellied pigs or the little miniature pigs, that a lot of people got them on impulse and because of the cool factor and that kind of thing. And I think because they are so smart, a lot of people aren't really equipped to deal with them. Do you agree on that?
Absolutely. Yeah, I think that, if you're looking for something, a pet that doesn't need a lot of upkeep and a lot of love and affection, pig is not for you. A pig is going to be like a very loving, playful dog or a cat.
Right. And they like to go on walks.
They like to go on walks. You can see that Piggy Azalea has her harness on, her leash. She walks on it very well. She'll follow me around. We go outside, and she acts just like any other pet.
Right. And they're super social, like you say.
Very.
So they love that. So you can't just have one and then put it in a pen and expect to just leave it. They really thrive on interaction just like a dog would in a lot of ways, and perhaps even more so. And if you don't do a lot of work with obedience training and handling and socialization, you really can get into trouble with some of these pigs. And if you don't monitor their diet, because some of these pigs we see wind up getting so obese, they're pushing upwards of 200 pounds. And if you've got a disobedient 200-pound pig, that's trouble.
We're in trouble. Exactly.
I saw one pig where this was a disobedient pig, a sweet owner that was just in over her head, probably a little bit of a permissive parent, didn't do a lot of training. And the pig walked up the sidewalk to come to the clinic, plopped down, wouldn't move, wouldn't go forward, wouldn't go backwards. And the lady prodded and pushed and cajoled, tried to do everything to get the pig inside for her appointment, and just couldn't. And you can't make a 200-pound disobedient pig do much of anything.
That's why it's important to get them started early, just like with dogs and cats or any other pet. The earlier you can start training and obedience lessons, the better. Because
and they love it. They can do tricks. There was one I was reading about the other day that rides a skateboard. So I don't know, maybe Piggy Azalea could do that. She's about skateboard size.
That's right. Time to go start practicing.
So we love pigs. They're a lot of fun. But if you have further questions about them, definitely feel free to call us and ask us about it. And depending on how things go with this love connection, Piggy Azalea might actually be available through the pet orphanage.
Yeah, we'll see.
So we'll see. So let us know about that. And just to kind of prepare you for what might be expected from a pot-bellied pig, they range in size from 13 inches at the shoulder up to about 20 inches, wouldn't you say?
Yep, that's about right.
And, weight range from high side in the 200s, but low side, what would you say the lowest number is?
I would expect her to top out at probably around 50 to 70 pounds.
Yeah, so in that bracket. Yeah, that's probably about what I would guess for her, too. So she looks like a lap pig, but as she gets up to that weight range, she may not
We'll
be.
have to talk. Have to have a little discussion. Yeah.
And even if you have a pig, you still want to get them spayed or neutered. Little Piggy Azalea here has been spayed already. And she's how old now?
We're guessing about 3 or 4 months.
So pretty young and already spayed.
Already spayed.
And actually with male pigs, you want to neuter them very early because you know how early they can breed and father a litter? 8 weeks.
Oh my gosh, 8 weeks.
Yet they don't attain their full size sometimes until they're 3 or 4 years old. So pretty crazy that you can have a baby that's a father. So not even a teen pregnancy.
Not even 8 weeks.
Yeah, 8 weeks.
And if any of you out there are thinking of getting a pig as a pet, I recommend that you research it a lot and talk to your veterinarian. If you want to send us a message, you can always contact us at podcast@welovepets.net. One of the big diseases we worry about in pigs are respiratory diseases. That's why we're always making sure that we take care to properly sanitize the place where we board pigs up at East Lake. And that kind of leads into something we touched on our last show. We talked about feline respiratory diseases.
Right. They're very common. And in fact, it's been said for cats that 95% of cats get exposed to some type of respiratory disease at some point. So the good news is these things are preventable, and the vaccines for respiratory disease, particularly the feline viral rhinotracheitis, is nearly 100% effective.
Yeah, there's, like you were mentioning, there are several different etiologies, so different pathogens
causes,
that can actually cause it, including the FVR, which is a herpes virus, or chlamydia viruses, there are caliciviruses, so quite a wide range of things that can cause kind of almost the same kinds of symptoms: the sneezing, the nasal discharge, the ocular discharge. Some of them cause ulcerations of the mouth.
Or even the eyes. The eyeball itself, the cornea, can get an ulcer if they have one of these viruses. And for some pets, for some cats, it's a transitory problem. For others, they carry these viruses for a lifetime. So if your cat is not currently vaccinated or has never been vaccinated, definitely see your pet's doctor about these very, very preventable diseases.
Treat it or prevent it before you have to treat it.
Right, always best, and keeps our pets much, much more healthy and happy and in better shape.
Yes, well, speaking of keeping them in better shape, one of the things we always talk about is good food, high quality diet.
Right,
and some worrying news came out.
Absolutely, and a new report from the FDA, there were noted significant violations in pet food processing at the Nestle Purina Purina plant in Lehigh County. And so there were a list of concerns relative, especially to canned dog and cat foods. Mighty Dog is one of those. And basically, it was reported that they were prepared, packed, or held under unsanitary conditions at the plant and could sicken dogs and cats. So really worrisome news, and something that pet owners should be aware of. And so definitely you can go to the FDA site if you have questions about any of the foods your pet is eating. At the FDA site, there's information there where you can find out if there are any recalls or concerns relative to various pet foods. But I'd like to have us kind of talk a little more about pet food labeling and how to read a label, because I think so many people, and I used to be one of those people, where I would judge pet food by how great the bag looked. If it had great carrots and cubes of beef on the front, I thought, well, this must be a good food.
Labeling
the
and
packaging
marketing
is good.
does a miracle.
Yeah, a lot of people pick wine that same way, just by the bottle if they don't know anything. But the fine print is where there's a lot of information on some of these pet foods. And you can have a pet food that says it's for a senior on the front of the bag, but then when you read what's called the AFCO statement, the fine print, usually on the side of the package or on the back side, if it says for all life stages, that actually means that it is food made to meet the nutritional requirements for a growing puppy or kitten. So that means it's high in protein, high in sodium, higher in calories, and not made in the way that we want to care for an older dog or cat, and can actually shorten lifespan.
Yeah, it's not designed to achieve the desired effect that we're trying to see, because nutritional requirements do change as dogs or cats age, just like in people.
Absolutely.
And so if you're feeding a dog food that you think is designed for senior pets, but is not, you're not really doing them any benefit. And so it's very important on how to read those labels. And I think next show we're going to bring in a label and show exactly what we mean.
Yeah, see exactly what we're talking about. And the other big thing to look for on pet food labels is whether that AFCO statement says that the food is formulated. If it says the word formulated, that means it's just a recipe that's been made up. It's not actually a recipe that's actually been evaluated in clinical feeding trials to find out how do pets do when they eat it. Do they develop kidney stones or bladder stones or other health issues? So we'll help you to understand more about reading your pet food labels, and so you know what the best choices are, because it's a lot of information to take in, and it's a complicated topic.
We always say nutrition, it's the fourth vital sign.
That's right, or the first medicine is the other thing I say. So very important for our pets and very important for us. But another thing that's really important I'd like to talk about, and not today, it's a sensitive topic, but it's one I'll kind of take some deep breaths on and be able to talk about next week. One of our viewers and listeners saw our last podcast where we talked about our own personal pets, and I was asked about how we lost our Chihuahua, Chloe, and Chloe actually passed of chocolate toxicity, and so we'll talk more about that and how to prevent it. And certainly it's one of those things that I never thought would happen in our own family, but it definitely does. So we'll talk more about that as well next week.
Yeah, important topic. We see that quite a bit in vet medicine, and people are aware that chocolate is toxic to dogs, but they may not know which types of chocolate are more toxic and what to do if your dog does get into something.
Exactly. And as always, if you do have questions about anything we talk about here on the show, please feel free to call us. You can call us at 972-808-6038, or you can also find us on iTunes and search for East Lake Pet Talk Podcast, or you can email us at podcast@welovepets.net. And if you'd like to learn more about our pet of the week, here we have precious little Piggy Azalea, and we'll be back with more great pet topics and news next week.
Take care.
Thanks so much.